Tasha. Hi guys, this will be the first video of my Cheap 20 series, and the whole concept is that I bring you cheap recipes and meal plans that you can do in under hopefully 20 minutes or not too far above that, and that won't take up your pocket. Hopefully if you use or buy some of these ingredients that I've shown in this video, it will be easy for you to take part in my series. And by take part I mean use my recipes. And I buy all these ingredients not in big batches, but these are things I always make sure that I have in the cupboard, and if I remember anything I will put it in. And if you think of anything, please comment down. I might have forgotten some things, or what are the things that you like to have in your kitchen. Maybe I'll add it to mine. If you haven't subscribed, please click the button, and if you have subscribed, do click the bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a video. I will try to upload videos every Friday, fingers crossed, hopefully. So yeah, make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe. I'm just kidding, and subscribe. These ingredients are in no particular order. I'll start with the utensils first. First thing I think you need in your kitchen, a non-stick pan. I try to use a non-stick pan, reason being food can easily burn, and I just think anyone can easily burn food. I burn food sometimes, so it can happen to anyone, and I just think it's kind of a safer way, and it's also easier to wash. Also, along with the pan, I would say a wooden spoon or a spatula or plastic or something, silicone. Do not use a metal utensil on a non-stick pot or pan, okay, because you will end up scraping off the adhesive, and if all the adhesive is scraped off, then that means your food will start to burn. So if you have a non-stick pan and the food's starting to stick to it, it's probably because you're using maybe a metal utensil, or you're scrubbing it with iron sponges. So I would recommend using a soft sponge for this when washing, and also using maybe a wooden or silicone or plastic spoon. Another thing I do suggest everyone gets is a sharp knife. Sharp knife, important, okay? Do get a sharp knife. One, it makes cutting so much easier for you. Apart from it being neater, it's also safer. Blunt knife, you end up slipping and sliding whenever you're cutting things, and that's when you can actually cut your finger and literally cut off nearly half of my thumbnail. You know, try to get a sharp enough knife, or take one from home if you can. I don't think I could travel with knives, so I try not to bring my actual sharp knives from home, but that's what I would say you should have in your kitchen. Next, you're gonna think this is weird, but I just have containers, different size containers, and the reason is I recommend personally to cook in batches. I cook in batches because that way I can just freeze whatever I make left over, and another day when I'm hungry and maybe I have no food in the house, boom, take it out of the freezer and you're done. Whenever I do go anywhere, or if I'm at uni, I always make sure I actually buy a pack of containers. You can get them from Poundland. You can get them from anywhere. They're really cheap. You can honestly almost freeze everything. The only things I don't really freeze are like rice or pasta, because I feel like it goes gross after you defrost it. I freeze garlic, I freeze herbs, I freeze chilies. Don't waste, freeze. You can also freeze bread, by the way. A lot of people say their bread goes moldy. Freeze it. Make sure you get those in your house. Cling film. I honestly think everyone should have some cling film with them. It's so cheap and it honestly lasts forever. It does not run out. The reason why I buy cling film is because I like to wrap up things and again put it in the freezer. I've used up all my containers. I can easily wrap the food in cling film and it's still the same way, it's still packaged. Just use it a few times. If you don't have foil paper in your house, I really don't know what you're doing with your life. I really don't. Foil paper you use in the oven, it makes everything easier. If you're gonna pack something, if you wanna cover a pot, maybe if it doesn't have a lid. And I would also say, sorry, I forgot to bring it with me, but get a bowl if you can. So a large enough mixing bowl, not large, but enough to where you can put things if you're marinating chicken or if you're doing something. Just make sure you get a set of like deal bowls, you know, for mix. Let's go on to food items. They're so Moorish. You have one and you just can't stop. Again, this is in no particular order, so I'm just taking them off of everything that I feel you guys need. In this jar, I have Maggi. Like, it gets annoying, so I just get a jar that I've used and I just fill up with Maggi. If you don't know what Maggi is basically bouillon stock cubes. I have this kind, which is just the bouillon. I have this kind called Mr. Chef. I also have Knorr, which is my... Oh, I think I've run out of Knorr. Knorr is my favorite. Okay, well, I've run out of Knorr. Usually I get that from Nigeria. No reason, I'm sure you can get it from African or Afro-Caribbean store. Maggi is the savior of all. Most times, I don't use salt in my food. I just use Maggi instead, depending on the dish, of course. But honestly, Maggi can take your food from 0 to 100. Stir frying some broccoli or some vegetables or some carrots or something, I just sprinkle some Maggi on instead of salt. So I won't use salt and Maggi together, or I'll balance it out by not using as much of each other. But taste things. The reason why I'm giving you guys these ingredients is so you know where to use them and when to use them. Don't follow rules, don't follow everything I say, even my recipes. Make sure you adjust to your taste. And you might find that maybe I suggest basil, but you like thyme in it instead. Maybe I suggest garlic, but you want onion instead. Try something else, it's all up to you. Which then takes me on to pepper and salt. So you need that in your house. Always season as you go when cooking. Your food will be very bland if you don't season as you go, because you're going to be adding ingredients to dishes, and when you add something that has no flavor, it takes away flavor, so you need to put back the flavor by seasoning. So always use some salt. I try to use sea salt. I try not to use table salt to cook. I try to use some sea salt or flaky salt, but whatever you can find, try to get that. Usually if you buy pepper, you can find sea salt grinders as well. I like to use garlic powder and onion powder. Sorry, they're in Spanish, so ajo y cebolla. They add a different depth of flavor. They don't have the exact same flavor as onions and garlic does to me, but I feel I just like it present in dishes. A lot of the time people might feel a bit too lazy to peel garlic, so use the garlic powder instead. It's really up to you. Sometimes if a dish is a bit bland, I just like to add a sprinkle of garlic powder or some onion, and it gives it a nice umami. In terms of herbs, I don't really cook with that many herbs, so in my pantry, I just like to have tomillo, which is thyme, and I also like to have albahaca, which is basil, because I cook a lot of Italian dishes, and so it's nice to have that Italian herb in my cupboard. And thyme, because I feel when you're on a budget, you tend to cook a lot of chicken. I do recommend buying chili flakes if you like a bit of heat. That's a quick way to add some heat to your dishes. I also like to use sugar, okay? I don't really do much baking, so sugar lasts me a really long time. I put sugar in dishes, like savory dishes, to balance out flavor. If something's too salty or too sharp, I add a little bit of sugar and it balances it out. So tomato dishes, if it's too sharp, if you feel like the tomato tastes too raw, add a bit of sugar and it helps to mellow it out. And then on to one of my favorite ingredients, soy sauce. Soy sauce is like umami heaven. Umami is like a depth of savory flavor. I don't just use it in stir fries and Asian cooking. I use it to season a lot of things whenever I feel like it's lacking in flavor. I would say use light soy sauce, not dark soy sauce, when you're using everyday cooking, because dark soy sauce is more for color and it has a harsher flavor. Light soy sauce is more for seasoning and it's lighter in flavor, lighter in color, also lighter in texture. It's not just gonna overpower your whole dish. Vegetable oil or sunflower oil or oil. I like to use a odorless, flavorless, high heat oil, and that's usually sunflower, peanut, rapeseed, vegetable, those type of oils, and they're much cheaper than the rest. Maybe not rapeseed and peanut, but sunflower and vegetable are much cheaper. When I do buy olive oil, I like to use good olive oil, so I wouldn't use olive oil every day. I would use it maybe for specific dishes, but in everyday cooking I do Nigerian, Asian, all of that. I like to use sunflower or vegetable oil. I like to have some type of pasta or spaghetti at home. This is linguine. If you want penne, if you want fusilli, if you want tagliatelle, it's up to you, but I always like to have a type of pasta at home. It's just a safe way to ensure that you have something quick to cook. If you have rice or if you have pasta and you have some Maggi, you have some herbs, you have some onion, guys, you can just work with what you have as long as you have these basics at home. I am aware that this is risotto rice. That's because I don't usually buy much rice. My last recipe was risotto, so I did have to buy some rice. But if I do have a rice at home, it's usually basmati or long grain. Ingredient I like to have at home that I do buy a lot of is tinned tomatoes, okay? You can use chopped, you can use whole, you can use passata, which is like sieved. As long as you have some tomato sauce at home, not sauce, canned tomatoes. I don't believe in buying jarred sauces because I feel it's so easy to make at home and you get it for cheaper and you make much more. If you have some tomatoes in a can and you have some stock cubes, you have some herbs, you have some onion powder, honestly you're making a delicious sauce without having to buy a jar. Just make it yourself. Next, onions. Not just one, but a whole bag. I always have a bag of onions at home. I don't know how people say that they don't like onions. Like, if you don't cook with onions, I don't trust you. Onions are like the base for every dish that I make. So I don't understand how you could say you don't like onions. That don't make no sense to me. So if you're on this channel, you need to start using onions in your food. They add so much depth of flavor. It's sweet, it's savory. Everyone needs onions. As well as onions, I love to have garlic at home. See, if you don't like whole garlic, I do recommend getting garlic powder. It's not as much of a fuss, but I love garlic so much, so I like to use both. I know you can find these anywhere because I get them wherever I am. Right now I'm in Spain, so of course there are some gadgets and things that I may have had in the UK that I don't have here because I don't want to travel with them, but I feel all these things are accessible, if not more. That's everything for this video, guys. If I've forgotten anything, I will put it down below, and if you have any suggestions, please let me know. Maybe there's something that I'm missing here that I should have in my pantry. I would love to hear from you. Please give it a thumbs up, comment, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching my videos, guys. I will hopefully see you next time, and thank you for watching.